you shouldn't train to failure anymore. So I want to jump on here and talk of my training philosophies and how they've changed as of late, more like the last 4 months. And the main one being, I don't think we should be trained to failure. Now, I'm going to explain what I mean by this. Like, first of all, I'm going to caveat this with, you have to know how to train to failure first. If you're someone who doesn't know how to train to failure, you've never trained that hard, this doesn't apply to you. So you actually should be trained to failure, learning out what failure is, and probably going past failure to understand then how to pull back. But for all of you who are more experienced, you train at really high levels of intensity and you push every set to failure, I think you might be doing yourself a little bit of a disadvantage when it comes to overall hypertrophy growth. So where I'm going to go with this is, I think now going for 50-50 grinder reps aren't worth it. The amount of fatigue that you will build up going for these reps will then affect the corresponding sets afterwards. So we sometimes live and die by one set. We think this one set is all that matters. And we've also got to take fun elements into this. So again, I do think it's fun to train to failure, so it does have its place, but we've got to accept the consequence of this. If the goal is maximal hypertrophy, potentially leaving one rep in reserve, or just not going for 50-50 grind reps, which is the attitude that I have, where I'm just not going for them reps which I know I can't get by myself, or if I do get it, it's going to be a very, very long concentric and it's going to drive up a lot of fatigue. I think if we leave them ones out of the set itself, the amount of work that we can do after that is going to be greater. And I'm going to give you an example now. You do an incline press, 2 plates aside, so incline Smith press, 2 plates aside, and you do 9 reps plus 1. You then keep 2 plates aside and you go to do the next set, but you only get 4 reps because that last rep was really hard, really grind, and drove up loads of fatigue. Now imagine you left that at 9 reps, okay? So you didn't go for that one grinder rep, which was really, really hard and pushed you to that point of really like failure, so on and so forth. And then you kept 2 plates on, but then you've done 7 reps, maybe even 8 reps after that, because we haven't pushed that point of fatigue. You've now accumulated more volume over time. That set and them 2 sets, have become more effective from a stimulus point of view because we've handled more load over the given 2 sets. Now, if we apply this to every single exercise where we're not killing ourselves for each set, the amount of workload we'll be able to do on that session, but sessions following that, will be higher. I do have a little bit of a rule because I do love training to fail myself. I think for single joint movements, tricep push downs, bicep curls, even maybe medial delt raises, I think we can go to failure to this on the last set. So the last set of that given body part, going to failure, I think is okay. Even on things like pec fly, even potentially on a pull down or a row, the last set for that given body part, that muscle group, I think we can push to failure because we're not doing any work afterwards. But what we don't want to do is using big bang for buck exercise at the start of our session, driving massive amounts of fatigue up. That's then going to affect the sets afterwards. So again, as a rule of thumb, if it's a 50-50 rep, I don't go for it. Just don't go for it. Even as I just said, even on single joint movements, I probably won't go for a 50-50 rep. If I know I can get it, and it's the last set of that muscle group, but I know it's just going to be quite a hard rep, I will go for it. And this is where, again, understanding yourself is really important. Another thing that I've really, really changed my perspective on over the last 6 months, this is the ability to be able to recover. And it ties in quite nicely to the not going to failure. We never obsess over recovery. We never obsess over how can we make sure that we are fully recovered after each session. And this is where, for me, meditating, breath work is a must. Our ability to control our autonomic nervous system is going to be such a key factor on our ability to be able to recover and build muscle. If you've got an ability to flip into a parasympathetic state very, very quickly, sympathetic when you're training, obviously, so sympathetic is your fight and flight, parasympathetic is your rest and digest. If we can flip into that very, very quickly and start the recovery process ASAP, the amount of volume we can handle over time is going to be greater. The more effective our sets are going to be. How do we do this? As I stated before, meditating, breath work, getting out in nature, managing stress to the best of our ability. So I'm really, really for all kinds of autonomic nervous system regulation, whatever you want to say, stuff to do. I think it's things that we don't double down enough as coach, and things that I'm really, really big on. And if you work with me, you'll find out, like, I'm all up for recovery. I think recovery is one of the most important things. And again, if we're driving sets to failure, we're going to hinder our ability to be able to recover. We're going to make it harder to get into that parasympathetic nervous state. I use myself as an example. About 5 months ago, my resting heart rate was probably in the mid 70s. I'm now under 3 weeks out from my first show. Stress is obviously higher. My body is more stressed because of the amount of workload, the low food, fatigue buildup. I'm not doing any cardio, so you can't say it's cardiovascularly induced, what I'm going to say now. And my resting heart rate is now 52 beats per minute. And the only thing that I've done different is I have managed my autonomic nervous system. And it's such a really important thing for us to take into consideration. And it's a really, really important thing for us to not overlook, because it is the biggest needle mover. It marries up very nicely with not trained to failure. And if we can keep these things going, and we can keep working on this, I don't think we ever need to deload. And if we never need to deload, we can then make progression on a week to week basis. So that's how I've changed my thought process on training over the last 4 to 6 months. 4 months on the training side of things, 6 months definitely on the meditating side of things, and it has been a life changer for me. And this is something I really, really work hard with my clients. If you are someone who wants to work with myself, please go onto my Instagram, the link's in the bio. Drop me a message up on WhatsApp, and I'd love to work with you. I'd love to level up your training and also level up your life.